Hey everyone, and thanks for jumping back into the cryptoverse. Today we're going to talk about Ethereum. We're going to be looking at historical trends. We know that it has major moves in January each year, and we anticipated that one for several months before it happened. We're going to go and look to see what other times does it maybe see significant moves. If you guys like the content, please subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and also check out the Telegram channel, which you can find a link to in the description below. Let's go ahead and jump in. So one interesting thing I noticed, because we did this video yesterday on Bitcoin, was Bitcoin is now between its 20-day SMA and the 21-day EMA. These basically, if we're above both of them, then most everyone feels incredibly bullish. If we're below both of them, then everyone seems bearish. And then if we're sort of in between them, then people are sort of in this neutral zone where they're like, which way is it going to go, right? So some people are bullish, some people are bearish. So Ethereum, though, right now is actually still below both of them. So Bitcoin was able to get above its 21-day EMA, and now it's range bound between the 21-day EMA and the 20-day SMA. Ethereum right now has gotten rejected by its 21-day EMA. And this sort of goes in line with the discussion we've been having on this channel for a long time of continued Bitcoin volatility will spook Ethereum, right? Bitcoin's like the dog and Ethereum's the cat. And when the dog is playing, right, when the dog's running around going crazy, the cat is less likely to want to come out and play. Now, occasionally, so that's why we've had occasional videos where we say, you know, when the dog's away, the cat will play. And we've seen Ethereum go crazy during those weeks. And then sometimes we're even fortunate with other regards, and both the dog and the cat are sleeping. And then when the cat's away, the mice will play. And that's when all of our random altcoins we liked so much will start moving as well. A lot of times when Ethereum volatility is super high, then it steals the show from the altcoins. But if Bitcoin volatility is low and Ethereum's not going anywhere, then the mice can play. But anyways, Ethereum is now just sitting shy of the 21-day EMA. What has it done before? When has it moved against Bitcoin before? We've often discussed our January move, and if you're not familiar with that idea, this was something we've discussed endlessly on this channel. We discussed it over a year ago. We discussed it this year in Q4, basically anticipating a move in January for Ethereum. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, the general idea is that Ethereum tends to make significant moves either starting in late December or early January, and then doing fairly well at some point starting in January through Q1. Now, in 2015, 2016, you can see it went up a modest 1,800%. In the following year, just through March, it went up about 600%. The following year, it went up about, and we're just measuring candles here, not wicks, about 300%. The following year, it went up again, maybe about 50%. And then we discussed this one at length right here, and it went up about 60% or so. And then we also discussed this one on this channel, and if you measure from the wick, it's even more, but if you just go from the body of the candle up to the top, it's about 65. If you go from wick to wick, if you were so fortunate, then you would have been looking at close to 100% move of the Ether Bitcoin valuation. So we know that Ethereum tends to move against Bitcoin a lot of times in January, and sometimes that move can extend into February and March if Bitcoin volatility is low. But we said if Bitcoin goes back into price discovery mode, it's going to make it rather difficult for the Ethereum valuation to gain on the Bitcoin valuation, because Ethereum does best when Bitcoin's not in price discovery mode, when it has pulled back from price discovery mode. That's what Ethereum tends to do the best. Okay, so what other times has it made major moves? Well, we can look to last year and we see that it started this move back in May. It moved up in May, it went sideways for a month or so, and then had an amazing summer. So, and this is something we discussed on the channel before. January tends to be among the best times for Ethereum, but you'll also see phases in the summer that tend to work out rather well. So here's one, early May, we sort of got a taste of it, and then going into the summer, we had a fairly impressive summer for Ethereum. If you go back even further, and let's say we start from the beginning, this was basically the launch, and it had an amazing launch, but then that's when it bled in Q4 all the way down. Then over here in the next year, we bottomed in around mid-April. We bottomed around mid-April before going back up for a while, going into May, and then we ended up trending back down until December, and then back up in January. And then again here, we had another summer, another nice move in May. So you can see this one was in late April, early May. This one was also in May going into June. We also had one here that started in April. And then we've had one last year that started, I mean, it really started here in May, and then it continued into June and July as well. So unfortunately, when you look at the history of Ethereum, the main time that we know that it shines is January, right? That's the main time. That's the one that, at least so far, we've been able to just mark on our calendars. Hey, Ethereum's going to go up in January. Let's prepare for it. And then it just does it every single year, 6 years in a row. And we called for it the last 2 years. So we'll probably look to see if that's playing out again at the end of this year. But is there going to be something in the meantime to sort of tide us over until the following January if the stars align? And I think there could be, right? I think, as we get into the next few months, we have seen several years where Ethereum starts to pick up in April and May timeframe. So this is what we're sort of looking for. Again, I don't think it's something you can take to the bank. It's not financial advice, of course, and it's not like our January move where we literally see it like every single year. But we look at the trends, we say, you know what, if you look at the prior years, there were nice moves a lot of times starting in April and May, and we're coming up to the end of March. Now, there's some other things we want to look at as well. For instance, the fact that we are back to below our general uptrend line. If you're wondering why I have this drawn, you're like, okay, well, it's clearly not in this. Why does he still have this drawn? I drew this basically on this chart over a year ago when we were all the way over here, and we just projected it out. We want to see how well it performs. We also drew the same rectangle, and I said this is the accumulation phase, the reaccumulation phase of the Ethereum Bitcoin valuation. This being the accumulation phase, this being the reaccumulation phase. And so far, I think that, we moved into the reaccumulation phase. We've mostly spent a lot of time in it, and we've generally been going up this uptrend channel. Now, currently, the valuation of Ether Bitcoin is a modest 0.03077479, and in order for us to get back to the top of the channel today, it would mean we would need to be going to approximately 0.05. So we're still a long ways away from that, but we're coming up on April, we're coming up on May. Maybe we're going to see some movement in the Ether Bitcoin valuation, assuming Bitcoin volatility calms back down. Now, if we also go to this chart, this is the same chart as the last one, but it's on a linear scale, and we're just noting basically this roller coaster that we've been on, going from the bottom and top of this channel, and they're sort of basically diverging away from one another. So, according to this line, and again, it's just a line, we could go down to 0.028 and still potentially continue in this pattern here. Okay, so one very dubious projection for the Ether Bitcoin valuation would be, okay, maybe it continues to not do so well for a little while, and then maybe in April or May it starts to pick up. It does really well throughout the summer, and then people think that it's going to go all the way up to 0.1, but maybe it stops at 0.05 or 0.06, and then maybe we come back down and we see that typical Q4 bleed of the Ether Bitcoin valuation into December, and then potentially from here we go off into our typical January Ether Bitcoin move. Okay, this could be something we look at. Obviously, this is a very dubious extrapolation, and it's not even extrapolation really, it's just speculation. But just showing it on there as a potential path forward. One thing I was looking at too is, we talk about our bull market support band for the Bitcoin USD valuation. Sometimes it's interesting just to look at it for, say, the Ether Bitcoin valuation and to recognize whenever we're below it, a lot of times people are very, very depressed in this region here. And just thinking back over the last year or two, we remember each and every one of these times, everyone's super bearish on the Ether Bitcoin valuation. And then it tends to only be a matter of time before we come back up to the top of it and spend some time above it. If we look at the time between going below it to when we got back above it, here we could say this one was about a month or maybe about 28 days. We had another one here that only lasted about 14 to 21 days. This one lasted about 77 days, so 2 to 3 months. So far on this one, we're only out about 35 days. So I think we're just seeing more or less the same thing that we've been seeing. I do think that patience will be is required, right? I think patience is required in this market. I think this is going to be a long cycle. Buckle up, get used to it. It's going to be one hell of a ride. If you guys like the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, check out the Telegram channel, which you can find a link to in the description below. Remember, we have the altcoin season sale. That's going to be ending in 4 days. Okay, so the 31st of March will be the last day you can sign up at the lower rate. Make sure you guys check it out if you want to lock in the lower rate. You'll get access to the weekly reports and videos, the Telegram alerts channel, the Telegram chat room, the risk dashboard, the Into the Cryptoverse app, the premium only live streams, and more. We have more stuff coming in Q2. So make sure you sign up, lock in the lower rate. Thank you guys for tuning in, and you'll find a link to that sale in the description below. Thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel. Let's go for 270,000 subscribers. I will see you next time. Bye.